Hello and welcome to Sports Your Shorts. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
And we're going to get off to a really good show today. First topic we're going to hit is baseball. The opening day is April 2nd for every team. Well, not every team. Some teams might start on the 3rd. But opening day is April 2nd. And
that's pretty much it. I got nothing.
Okay, well, besides opening day, the Mets are trying out Tim Tebow, and a woman stalked him, so that was kind of funny to hear.
I'm a Tebow fan. I
like
Tebow.
It's a little funny to hear that a woman got arrested for stalking Tim Tebow on the Mets, but that's pretty much it about baseball. I mean, there's not really much going on. Spring training's happening where you get to see like a 40-man team and get narrowed down to 25, I think is the starting lineups. So there really isn't much happening in the MLB, and it really doesn't start happening till the last week of spring training and opening day on April 2nd. And that's pretty much about the MLB. Now let's jump into things that are kind of right into the fire. The basketball and NCAA tournaments for the schools and the seeding in the bracket. The tournaments kind of affect the seeding. So the tournaments end on the 12th, which is Sunday. So what are some big news about the tournaments, Jimmy?
I love the fact that TCU beat Kansas.
Yeah, that was really big, and that could also affect them from getting a number 1 seed because bracketology is going to be Monday, and they seed the teams. Right now, Kansas is setting at a number 1 seed.
I don't think it'll change it.
You don't think it will?
I don't think so.
I think it doesn't have a high chance of changing it. They're still going to be a number 1 seed.
There's just too many years in a row of them dominating for them just one loss to...
Yeah, but this does show that you can beat them.
You can beat anybody, though.
Yeah, you can beat anybody, though, but it also shows that they're not that strong of a team as people put up for them, and I don't even see them making it to the Elite Eight.
Really?
They might make it to the Elite Eight, but I don't see them going further than that. Like, if they make it to the Elite Eight, it's like they won by like 5 points, maybe 10 against who they faced, and they aren't going to beat the team to make it to the Final Four. So if they make it to the Elite Eight, I see them barely making it.
I want Vanderbilt to go.
I see Vanderbilt, can't talk, also going, and I think that's the strongest 1 seed there is Vanderbilt, definitely. And Duke is a strong 1 seed, but they lost in the tournament pretty badly too. They're going to face North Carolina, but they already have 1 loss. So if they get their second loss, they're out. So I guess Duke isn't as high as I thought they were too.
Yeah, this might be the year for the upset to actually win it.
Yeah, this might be a year where a team that we're not high on actually wins the whole tournament. Like a 4 seed, a 5 seed, or even deeper, like a 10 or something like that could win the tournament.
I want a 16 seed to win it all.
That would be magical because a 16 seed to this year, since the tournament has been a thing, has not even beaten a 1 seed. Mm-hmm. So that would be something magical to see. A 16 seed not only beating a 1 seed, but winning the whole tournament. That would be magical.
I mean, if they beat the 1 seed, what's stopping them?
Exactly.
They got the momentum and they beat the best team.
Yeah. They beat the best team in that division. I don't know about the best team, but they beat the best team in that division of the bracket. So
Syracuse won against Duke in buzzer beater fashion, and Dylan Brooks from UCLA has 2 buzzer beaters in a row.
Yeah, that's something pretty big for Dylan Brooks and for UCLA as a team. And I think they won again. I remember, they beat USC, so they're further in the tournament. They'll play tonight. So that's something that's that's huge for UCLA and as a college, and that could help them when brackets come out and seeding. And the fact that Syracuse beating Duke kind of doesn't really hurt them, but it puts Syracuse up there for a team to help with their seeding. Before we jump into the NBA, let's talk about these last few things about the NCAA tournament. It looks, according to ESPN, that the last 4 teams that will be out of the tournament are Michigan State, Seton Hall, Marquette, and Xavier. The last 4 that you expect to be in the tournament are going to be Providence, Syracuse, because they got that buzzer beater against Duke, really helped their chances, and Wake Forest and K-State. Looks like they will be in the tournament, according to ESPN.com. Now, the official bracket will come out on Monday in the afternoon on a show called Bracketology on ESPN, so make sure you check it out for your official seedings in the bracket. Now, stay tuned for NBA news And stay tuned to Sports Your Shorts. And we're back to Sports Your Shorts. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
And we're going to talk about the NBA now. So Kevin Durant's injury for the Warriors, I feel like is a huge hit to the Warriors because they changed their whole offense to kind of play through him.
Not just their offense, they changed their whole team. They got rid of all their big guys.
Yeah, they got rid of a lot of big guys, but they also changed their offense to play through him. Steph Curry wasn't scoring as much. They were kind of like, he was more assisting and playing through Kevin Durant and kind of, I don't want to say being a second fiddle because he wasn't a second fiddle, but he was playing through Kevin Durant, definitely. The whole game plan was to play through Kevin Durant. And now with his injury...
Kevin Durant's the second best player in the world.
Yeah. So now with his injury, they have to change the whole game plan. And Stephen Kerr is a great coach, so he can help them change the whole game plan. And I don't think this injury affects them that much right now, but it can affect their seeding because they're starting to lose right now and they're having a hard time trying to figure this out. But as long as he comes back for the playoffs, I still see the Warriors making the finals. The teams that kind of challenge them are the Spurs, definitely. But I still see them making the finals if he comes back for the playoffs.
I think it affects them right now because their confidence has never been lower. People are acting like Durant had no effect on him, but he's the second best player in the world. He's going to have a huge effect no matter what. And, if they keep this losing slump going, then, they drop down to a 2 seed, maybe. Which means instead of going to play...
The 8th worst team, they play the 7th worst team.
Yeah. They'd play... That could be the Thunder. And Russell Westbrook wants the opportunity to get back at Kevin Durant. They could be a hard-fought 7 games. I think the Warriors would come out of it. But they'd be exhausted already in the first series of the playoffs. And that's Kevin Durant's first series back. That's not good for him.
It's not good for them to be exhausted, but at the same time, they still have the number 1 seed. Even though they're losing some games, they still have the number 1 seed. They're still the number 1 seed by 2 games, and they have lost 3 in a row, so that does scare them. But I still think they can hold this number 1 seed. Now, if the Spurs go ahead and take the number 1 seed, they would face Denver right now. And which isn't...
They got nobody.
Denver's got nobody, so it isn't that scary. So it won't be like a 7-game series.
But instead of that, they could play Oklahoma City.
They could play Oklahoma, or they could play Memphis, which Memphis is also scary because they have big players, and it could challenge them if they slow the game down.
Yeah.
So this
Golden State got rid of all their big guys.
Yeah, all they got is JaVale McGee is a big guy, and Draymond Green, and Draymond Green's just kind of a defender. He's not really a big guy that can score.
Draymond Green, he's basically the goon of the team where he'll stick up for the players so they don't have to.
Yeah, and he's good at defense, so that can help him. Right now, as long as they make the playoffs and stay the number 1 seed, and the playoffs stay where they're at right now, they'll face Denver or Memphis, which I don't see them struggling that hard against Denver or Memphis.
They only have a 2-game lead against the Spurs, though, and the way they're playing right now, the Spurs are going to take the number 1 seed.
So if the Spurs take the number 1, they would face Memphis right now, which I don't see Memphis giving them that much of a fight.
I see them giving more of a fight than the Nuggets would.
Yeah, then the Nuggets would. They would definitely give them more of a fight. But I don't see them giving them enough fight for them to be worn out. But then they would face the Thunder next, or a team as strong as the Thunder, and that's just going to be hard. Definitely Durant's injury makes it harder for them to make it to the finals, but I still see them making it to the finals.
And not just that. When he comes back, they're going to have to fix their chemistry. Because they're changing the way they're playing. They have to. They're going to have to re-get their chemistry back, and then who knows if they'll ever be the same. Because by the time they get their chemistry back, they could be exhausted, and they'd have to be going to San Antonio or even Cleveland, maybe.
Yeah, so it's definitely something that's really scary for them, and it's something that they weren't expecting, and it's definitely something that could hurt them from going to the finals. It's a little bit of the Warriors, and it's hard to see it happen. It's a huge blow for the Warriors. So it's definitely something they didn't see coming.
No. And on the other side, Cleveland lost Bogut 2 minutes into his debut.
I thought that was hilarious.
It doesn't really have much of an effect, but
the Cavs really aren't playing that well, though.
No, I know.
They really aren't.
I hope that Boston or Washington can knock him out. I'm so tired of LeBron.
Or Toronto can knock him out because they did some really good moves in the trade deadline. And if they stay at that 4 seed, they can knock him out. They really could.
I think right now Boston has the best chance.
Yeah, but they wouldn't face Boston until the 3rd round. So you're talking about someone who can knock him out real quick. Toronto can knock him out real quick. Because they're going to face either Chicago, or if Chicago moves up, they'll face Detroit or Miami. And I don't see Detroit or Miami knocking them out. I want to say Chicago could, just because I'm a D-Wade fan, but that's giving Chicago too much credit because they're playing terribly.
D-Wade's a mess this year.
Yeah, he isn't doing what he did last year. He's still fun to watch, and he can still score, but he's only averaging 20 points a game.
He made a mistake leaving.
I don't think it was that big of a mistake, though, because they really undervalued him, and I think he deserved more than what the Heat were ever going to give him. I don't think he deserves that much undervalue. And
take away the fact that he's your favorite player.
Yeah.
I want you to look at it objectively, all right? Do you think, honestly, that he's worth that much?
As much as Chicago gave him? I think that he's worth that much because he's a great player. Taking away that he's my favorite player, because he's a great player.
Not anymore. He's old.
And also, it's not just the fact that, Chicago gave him a lot of money. If Miami really cared about him, they should have done anything to keep him. And you look at it now, they have no shooting guard, and they're playing. Miami's actually playing very well, but I think they'd be playing a lot better if they had him. I think they would be like a 5th seed or like a 4 seed if they had him. You cannot lie and say they wouldn't be better than what they are if they had him.
They'd easily be better.
So I think it's a huge loss, and they should have paid the man.
I disagree. They should not have paid him. I don't think he's worth what he's making. Aside from him being one of the best shooting guards of recent times, he's not doing anything this year. He's not. He hasn't earned the money he's getting. You can see he's frustrated.
Yeah.
Because I think he knows he made a mistake leaving that team. He didn't get that much more money.
He got $5 million more.
Over 2 years.
No, it's over 1 year. He got $50 million for 3 years, and they were offering him $45 for 3. So he got $5 for over 3 years. He got $5 million.
That's not that much.
It really is.
And considering how much he's made throughout his career, if he really cared about Miami, he would have taken that $5 million.
Yeah, but I also don't think it's about how much he really cared about Miami. It's just they really lowballed him.
How?
Because they didn't offer that 3 for $45 million until the Bulls offered it and took him away. They were going to offer him 1 year again for $16 million when they paid him 1 year for $20 last year.
But he's older now. He's not worth the same amount.
Yeah, but last year they offered him that 1 year for $20 million because they thought he was worth it, and they thought he was making the team worth it. This year, now granted, I think that it's not his fault that the team's also losing. They aren't playing well because they don't have a good point guard. They have no one to direct the team. I don't think it's just D-Wade's fault. I think it's the coaching. And I think it's the whole Bulls operation.
D-Wade is playing like crap.
He's not playing the best he can. I'll go with that. I don't know that he's playing like crap, but he's not playing the best that he can.
Did Miami just as dirty as they did him.
I can maybe agree with that because it's just so hard to watch both my favorite player lose and the fact that the Bulls, they got Rajon Rondo to maybe help them with the point guard. He hasn't done nothing for them. And they've got nobody to run that team.
But you know what's not helping that? The fact that Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade are calling out these young guys instead of actually showing them what to do.
Yeah, it's really not helping it.
You know, Rajon Rondo a month ago pointed out that he had put on Instagram that his big three didn't do this kind of stuff. They didn't complain to the press.
Yeah.
If they had an issue, they dealt with it in-house.
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler are out there talking to anybody who will listen.
And I tried to say that last podcast I didn't like what D-Wade was doing. Just because he's my favorite player doesn't mean I agree with everything he does. I don't just praise him to the highest. I didn't like that he was going to social media and praise and saying that these rookies need to step up and all that. I hated that. And I really think that it's not just that, it's also the culture that we live in where you have to go to social media. It's almost like that.
I think...
And back then it was a different culture. Social media hasn't like exploded as much as it is now. And I just don't think it's a good way to go about it. I don't think it at all. Me being a D-Wade fan, I don't think it's the best way to go about it.
I think that he realizes he made a mistake from leaving the Heat.
I think he's very mad. And not just the fact...
I think they're going to cut him after this year.
They signed him to 3 years, so it'd be very hard to cut him. It would lose them a lot of money.
I think they're rebuilding, though. I don't think they care.
I think they will rebuild and try to get a point guard because they need something. And I see him maybe coming off the bench as a sixth man. As much as it kills me to say D-Wade won't be a starter because he's my favorite player, if he keeps playing like he does, they're going to realize that he can't start.
They've already expressed interest in trading Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
If they trade Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade's gone.
Yeah, if they trade Jimmy Butler, then they have to rebuild that whole team. He's the only thing that's kind of like the face of the team is Jimmy Butler. So they trade Jimmy Butler. I agree with you that they have to rebuild the whole team, and they'll definitely get rid of D Wade. As much as that kills me,
I think Boston's going to make a move in the offseason to get Jimmy Butler.
That could be something because they already kind of looked to get him in the trade deadline, and they couldn't. So Boston could make a move to get Jimmy Butler, and if that happens, then I do see the Bulls parting ways with D Wade. But right now, they're still in the playoff hunt, and if they figure out what they can do with a point guard, they won't face the number one team. They'll face a 3 seed, and maybe they'll get out of it, but they'll get killed in the second round.
They won't make it anywhere in the playoffs.
I know, that's what I just said. They'll face like a 3 seed if they make the 6th, and maybe they'll get out of it and get killed in the second round.
I don't think they'll make it past the first round the way they're playing.
The way they're playing, I don't think they'll make it past the first round either. And it kills me because I'm such a D-Wade fan. I hate to see him go like this, but it's really sad to watch.
My hope for the finals, Boston versus Golden State.
And my hope, just because I just don't want to see the same finals last year, is maybe Boston versus Spurs, or I'll settle for Boston versus Golden State. Because I just don't want to see the Cavs and Golden State again.
I'm just tired of LeBron. That's it.
I'm tired of seeing him succeed. Well, maybe because I'm just such a LeBron hater. I'm tired of seeing him succeed so much because I don't think he's literally the best player everybody holds him up to be. I really don't.
He's the best player in the world right now. I think in their prime, put him toe to toe with Michael Jordan. It's over. Michael Jordan will win.
Yeah,
but he can't do it on his own anymore. He needs the stars. That's when he went to Miami. He sold out to go play with some stars, and then when he came back, he threw a fit until he got more stars. And that's what he did again this year when they were not playing that well. He threw a fit, and they started bringing all these guys in. So he's whining all the time.
But he was a whiner in Miami. He was whining all the time before Miami. He's a whiner. He whines all the time, and that's one thing that I just can't get behind LeBron is because all he does is whine. I can't get behind a player that's just going to whine and whine. And that's why I'm having a hard time getting behind D-Wade when you're whining to the press about these guys need to fix this and these guys need to fix that. It's really hard for me to get behind you. I mean, you were my favorite player until this happened. Like, this is really hard as a D-Wade fan to watch.
This is why take all the players in the NBA right now. You get to pick one player to start your franchise with. Mm-hmm. On his rookie year, who do you take?
On his rookie year, one player to start your franchise with? I would take Steph Curry or Kawhi Leonard from the Spurs.
I'd have to take Kevin Durant.
Okay.
He's the second best player in the world. He doesn't throw fits like all these other guys. Mm-hmm. And the guy can play. He
can flat out play. The only reason why I would take like a point guard or someone like Kawhi Leonard is because I think they could play better defense. So I've always kind of been a someone who roots for someone who plays defense. Like Boston's been playing really good defense. Utah's been playing really good defense this year. So it's always kind of fun to watch a team that can play defense and doesn't have to score a lot if their players having an off day. And with Steph Curry, he can create with the team. So that's also why I'd pick Steph Curry, is because he can create with the team that he has.
All right, 2 final topics. What do you think about the Lakers bringing in Magic Johnson?
I think it's a good idea because I think it can help them. And if he finds a way to bring Kobe back, I really see like players wanting to play. And when they draft, I feel like both him and Kobe as a mind could draft someone that could help the Lakers.
I disagree with you 100%.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's a bad thing. It's not going to help them put their franchise back together. The owners are dysfunctional at best, and Magic Johnson doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know how to scout players.
But what if they got like a scout? What if he goes and gets a scout and then helps the owners, like gets him a new owner or something like that, and then brings Kobe back?
It's not going to happen. You
don't think it's going to happen? You don't think that he could go get a scout?
Oh, he could.
And then he could fix the owners? I'm not saying it's going to happen next year. I'm saying like 5 years down the road, maybe the Lakers will be back to what the Lakers were.
But I don't see it happening. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense.
So even 5 years down the road, You do not see.
If Magic Johnson's the GM, I don't see him doing anything.
You don't see them doing anything 5 years down the road?
If they do anything, it's because they drafted some player and got lucky, like Alonzo Ball, and he turned out to be as great as everyone thinks he is.
I think that he could help them 5 years down the road. I don't think it's going to happen next year. I don't think it's going to I think it's going to be a while, but I think he could help them.
And it's not just because he's a rookie. That I just don't think he has...
Not drafting Alonzo Ball can help him. I think that Magic Johnson could help him 5 years down the road.
I disagree. Because it's not just because he's a rookie GM. It's because I don't see him being the guy who's studying film, trying to figure out what he can do to make these people better, this team better.
But does he have to be that guy?
Can
he just hire someone to do that? Because look, I mean, this is a bad example, but you look at the Knicks and Phil Jackson. I don't see him being the guy to watch film and all that. I see him...
And look how that's turned out.
It hasn't turned out very well, but I also just see him being a face, and people are like, he's won 13 championships. I want to play for Phil Jackson.
Nobody wants to play for Phil Jackson anymore. Nobody.
And, like, if you look at it... Okay, let's go from a better topic. I do see Greg Popovich watching film, but other than that, people would just go to him because they want to play for Greg Popovich because he's such a great coach.
Yes, he's a great coach.
So you don't think people would just be like, dude, I want to play for Magic. Like, how great would that be?
He's never been a coach.
But just...
He's never been a GM. He has never been in this type of position. You have no idea how he's going to act. And the players that are in their prime right now don't give a rat's butt about Magic Johnson. They don't.
I really think that it could help him. And if you look at it, like, if you keep saying he's a rookie, you don't know what he's going to do. So you're basically just judging him after you don't know what he's going to do. Like, you're giving some good points, but you do not know what's going to happen.
I have no faith in him. But, like, on the NFL side, the 49ers just hired John Lynch. Never been in this type of position before. I see him as the type of guy who will sit there, study tape for hours. I have faith that he can rebuild that franchise. And that franchise is a lot more dysfunctional than the Lakers.
I have faith that he can rebuild them. I don't know if he can rebuild them to what they were. I don't know if that can ever happen again. But I have faith that he could find a coach that can maybe watch film for him. And all that. I have faith that Magic Johnson can help the Lakers.
In my opinion, at best, Magic Johnson can get him to about 500 team. At best.
What are you saying? Like, for I don't know what the contract was, but
5 years from now,
they're still going to be a 500 team?
I think they'll be a 500 team at best, if not worse.
I think if they don't find a good coach, I see that too. Because they don't just need, and they don't fix the front office. It's not just who's at GM and all that. They don't fix that front office. It's going to be bad. Another thing that I kind of wanted to hit was the Mavericks are making a big playoff push, and they've got Steph Curry's brother, Seth Curry, which is a lot of fun to watch Seth Curry starting and kind of turn into his brother. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as his brother, but it's kind of fun to watch two brothers in the game. I don't think it's been a while since we've had family in the game, and both of them doing well. So I think that's why I wanted to hit on the Mavericks kind of playing, because it's kind of fun to watch brothers in the NBA.
One final question.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the MVP this year?
This year, I think it comes down to either Steph Curry or Kawhi Leonard. I really want Kawhi Leonard to win it, but they also may just pick James Harden. I hope to God they don't pick James Harden.
I think it's between, right now, 4 people are being talked about. LeBron James, I don't think he's going to do it, and I hope he does it because I'm tired of him.
Mm-hmm.
James Harden, which, okay, I could see it. Russell Westbrook, but he doesn't have the shooting percentage or anything to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kawhi Leonard deserves it more than anybody.
I think out of those 4, Kawhi Leonard deserves it more than anybody, because LeBron...
I think he deserves it more than Steph Curry.
Yeah, because Kawhi Leonard's the actual 4-round player, because James Harden does not play defense. When you have 5-on-5, it's like 5-on-4 when you have James Harden on your team. Because he's not going to play defense. He's never going to play defense. Kawhi Leonard actually plays defense, actually scores, rebounds. Like, the Spurs they'd be almost nowhere without Kawhi Leonard this year. And the MVP is the most valuable player. So if you look at, he's the most valuable player on that team. There's nobody else close enough to him.
I think Russell Westbrook's about as close as you can get.
And I feel like Russell Westbrook just has one speed, go. 100 miles an hour, go. He cannot slow down the pace. He never can slow down.
My issue with him is he is the guy who he can get all these triple doubles. Nobody wants to play with him.
Yeah,
He won't share the ball. Yeah, he's getting 10 assists, but no stars want to play with him. Yeah. That's why Kevin Durant left.
Yeah, Kevin Durant saw that he was just going to get right here because he's gone to a slower team. Golden State plays way slower than the Thunder ever played. Like, literally, all Russell Westbrook is 100 miles an hour. Go, 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 go. And that's just all he's going to be. No matter if he got another star, you can't play with someone who's going to play 100 mile an hour. Go. Like, that's...
I'm impressed the fact that he's almost averaging a triple-double at the end of the year.
I'm impressed with that too, but...
And without him, the Thunder would just be nothing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't... When he scores more than 40 points a game, their team's only won 2 or 3 of their games.
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard's easily the best all around.
Yeah, and it's called the MVP for a reason. If you take that player out of that team, that team's going to be hugely affected. If you take Kawhi Leonard out, the Spurs don't even make the playoffs. They don't even have a winning season, I don't think. If you take Kawhi Leonard out, maybe with the coach Greg Popovich they have a winning season, but they don't make the playoffs.
I disagree. I think with Popovich, anything's possible. He can find anybody. I
did say that last podcast that you can't count the Spurs out because Popovich, anything's possible.
Popovich is a one in a million coach.
Yeah, he's the best coach, and that's why he's been coaching for 20 years. Maybe even more. I think it's 20 plus. So he's literally, if you keep it for 20 years, there's not another coach that's coached for 20 years. There really isn't. And how effectively he's done it for 20 years. There's no one else.
All right, you ready to take our final break?
Yeah, we're going to take our final break and hop into the NFL. We hope that you stay tuned to Sports Your Shorts. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Andrew. And welcome back to Sports Your Shorts. This is Andrew.
This is Jimmy.
And the final topic today is going to be the NFL. So let's just jump right into it. But I feel like we just kind of jumped over the NCAA. The tournament starts March 14th, so get your brackets ready and get ready to watch some amazing basketball for March Madness. It's going to be so much fun to watch. But let's jump into the sport that me and Jimmy love the most, and we'll talk for days about, and that's football. Chris Johnson's record was broken. Is it that big of a deal?
I don't think it is at all.
I don't think it is that at all either. I mean, congrats to Jalen Ross. Really, John Ross, congrats. I mean, you definitely deserve maybe a round of applause.
I think that he should have. I think stupid for not wearing Under Armour.
Yeah.
Because they offered, if someone broke his record this year, if they were wearing Under Armour, they were going to get a free island.
Yeah. And not only just that, it's also the fact of, like, he broke a pretty big record and he kind of got hurt. He tore, like, his hamstring doing it. So, I mean, it's not that bad of an injury. He'll be back before you know it. But was it really to go all out for? I really don't think so.
I don't even think the 40 time is that big of a deal.
It doesn't translate to
game speed. I don't think it translates to game speed because when you get the adrenaline pumping through you and you get people chasing you, you run faster than you ever ran in your life.
Yeah, that is true. So maybe he runs faster than that.
Or maybe he doesn't.
So
maybe one of these slower guys runs faster than he does.
Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal for 40 time. But I do think it gives him a little bit higher ranking on some teams' radar because they're like, he's really fast. But I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I think if this was 4 years ago, the Raiders would have traded everything to get him. Because they drafted the fastest player ever.
Yeah, they drafted Hayward Bay, and look how that turned out. So maybe if it was 4 years ago, the Raiders would have gone everything. But enough about that. The Raiders did speak about the Raiders. They did get the loan approved to go to Vegas. So they're going to Vegas. I mean, it's not that huge of news because we knew it was going to happen. But it's official now.
I knew it was going to happen. Like, everyone, when the first guy pulled out of the loan, I knew they were going to find somebody else. There's so many millionaires in Vegas, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like Bank of America gave him the loan, so it's a Bank of America stadium now.
I'm just happy I could finally go to a Raiders game.
And not get killed.
Pretty much.
So, what about Jamal Charles getting released from the Chiefs? Do you think it was time?
I do. It kills me. He's one of my favorite players. But it was just time. He's not the player he used to be. He failed his physical, and he's old for a running back.
All those injuries, when you tear your ACL twice, that's really hard to come back from. It really is. So, I think it was time, and it's hard because he was the face of the team for a while, so it's hard. But
he's easily a Hall of Famer. Easily.
Yeah, easily is.
Easily going to be easily the best Chiefs running back of all time. I think he's better than Priest Holmes.
I could agree with that.
I think Priest Holmes might have looked better at times, but if you take Jamal Charles and put it behind that 2003 line, there's nothing he couldn't have done. He would have averaged 25 yards a carry. Because I was going to bring up Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about Adrian Peterson for a second because he is really interested in the Raiders. Raiders are not interested in him. Where do you think he's going to play?
I think that Adrian Peterson, I really want to see him on the Bucs because I think it could help that team if Doug Martin gets hurt again. I think it really could help that team.
See, I don't think Doug Martin's going to be there next year.
Yeah, so I really think that it could help the team with whoever they have. Because who do they have after Doug Martin? So I really think it could help the Bucs succeed. I don't think that he's going to be on the Bucs, but I think it could help him a lot.
Right now, he wants a lot of money, and he's not going to get it.
He's not. He's not worth that much money.
He needs to step back and be like, wow, I'm old. I'm not going to get this money.
And also, you're injured. Like, you had a really bad year last year. Granted, your offensive line was terrible. But you had a really bad year. You got injured again. So you got to step back and say, I can't play as well as I did. I need a team with an offensive line. And I need a team that's not just going to rely on me. And the Vikings were just going to rely on him.
You think the Bucs have a good offensive line?
I don't necessarily.
I think it's average. I don't think it's a bad line.
I think that it's better than what the Vikings offensive line was.
Everybody's better than the Vikings offensive line.
And I think that they have receivers and they have a quarterback and they just have a better team that it could help them.
They definitely have better receivers.
Yeah. And they have a better quarterback. So
Mike Evans, and then they just signed Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, so and if they get a running back because Doug Martin's not doing very well, they get a running back that can maybe get them 50 yards a game, 60 yards a game, like I think Adrian Peterson could do. That team's really hard to stop.
I don't know. I think Adrian Peterson should just call it quits and retire.
That would definitely be something I see too. The team, because he's not going to get the money he wants, and no team's going to come calling I think it's the best time for you to call quits and retire.
Same thing with Jamal Charles. I think he should retire, but I think he's going to go to the Eagles or the Seahawks.
Okay.
But Brock Osweiler being traded to the Texans
on day one of not traded to the Texans, traded to the Browns.
That's what I meant. Traded from the Texans
on day one of free agency. That's a big trade, but I think the Browns won that because they just gave up a 4th round pick and they got a 6th round pick and a 2nd round next year. That's a huge win for them.
I think Osweiler's going to be a backup.
I think just because I don't know about Cody Kessler that he could start, but I also think that they could draft a quarterback. They're
not drafting a quarterback. They're going to draft the defensive end that everyone's raving about.
I think that they're going to draft defense the 1st round, definitely because they have 2 picks. But I see them maybe drafting a quarterback maybe the 3rd round.
I don't.
Or later.
I just don't see it happen. They drafted a quarterback every year for as long as I can remember.
And it really hasn't helped.
And they haven't done anything.
So
I think they need to take a step back, see what Cody Kessler has, and if he doesn't have anything, next year's a much better draft for quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. And I don't think they're going to draft. If they draft a quarterback, I see it later rounds, and I see it just to give Cody Kessler a challenge, because it's either going to be Cody Kessler or Brock Osweiler who starts. And there was a lot of quarterbacks that you draft late and they do amazing. Tom Brady. Russell Wilson was drafted in the 4th round. He started. So you don't know Dak Prescott. So
Kurt Warner was undrafted.
So you don't know what you're going to get. So they may just draft someone, and he might turn into something. But I think they should definitely go defense.
First of all, anyone who gets drafted the Browns is not going to be anything. They're a joke. That franchise is a joke.
I mean, I did see a meme that I thought was so funny. It said, you think the Patriots cheat, but the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bengals get 2 bye weeks. They get 1 bye week, and then when they face the Browns, they get another one.
3 then.
And they get 3 bye weeks, basically. Because you know that they're going to win. You really don't. The Browns aren't going to beat the Steelers, no matter. Even if they lost Ben Roethlisberger, they aren't going to beat the Steelers.
Disagree with that one.
But they aren't going to beat the Ravens.
You've seen how bad they played without Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, but I think they could get 20 points and beat the Browns.
I don't think they could. They almost lost to the Browns. They got a BS call to win that game.
Yeah.
So you can't say that without Ben Roethlisberger they wouldn't.
Okay, maybe without Ben Roethlisberger, the Browns have a chance to beat them. But other than that, those teams literally have 3 bye weeks.
Good news for the Texans though, because they're out of the worst contract ever.
Yeah,
ever.
They're out of it. So that's really good for them. The Cowboys releasing Tony Romo. Where do you think Tony Romo's going to go?
Denver makes no sense. They don't want him. It's the toughest division of football.
Yeah.
They got a weak offensive line, and then on top of that, you're gonna have to face Joey Bosa. You're gonna have to face Khalil Mack and Justin Houston twice apiece.
Yeah. So
that's a lot of hurt.
I see if Tony Romo goes somewhere, it's the Jets.
He won't go to the Jets.
Or the Browns. Or just like a team that is just Bears maybe.
No, I think Texans makes the most sense.
That does make the most sense because of how weak that division is.
If he doesn't go to the Texans, I see him going to the Rams or Jacksonville, somewhere where they have a big market to where he can start getting into broadcasting and stuff for his post-NFL career.
Yeah. Okay, but the Eagles signing Alshon Jeffrey and Torrey Smith, does that help them?
Yes.
I think it helps them tremendously.
I wouldn't say tremendously because they don't have a very good defense.
Yeah, but Carson Wentz had nobody to throw to.
Carson Wentz is the biggest winner of the free agency so far.
Yeah.
Because he's got Alshon Jeffrey. Now, I don't think Alshon Jeffrey is a very good number 1 receiver, but he's a good number 2 guy. And it's the same with Torrey Smith. Neither of them are number 1 guys, but one of them is going to get double teamed, which means the other one's going to be all right.
And Matthews is a good speed receiver, so it's definitely someone they can move to 3 from 1, and he's going to get open more.
Yeah, and you got Brent Selleck.
And they've also got that tight end, Zach Ertz. Very good tight end,
Zach
too.
Ertz. And on top of all this, there's rumors that they're going to get Jamal Charles.
Yeah, so...
They're going to be fine. They need to work on their defense throughout the draft. And who knows, maybe they can get back to when they were who they were with Andy Reid and them.
Yeah.
It'll be the Cowboys and Eagles again.
In that division.
Staying in that division, though, Kirk Cousins franchise tag, but he requested a trade.
Mm-hmm.
He went directly to the owner because the GM is missing in action. They have no idea where the GM's at.
Mm-hmm.
The owner said, don't bet on it. I think they're stupid if they don't try to trade him.
I think they're stupid if they don't try to trade him, but he's definitely does not want to play for them. And if he ends up playing for them, it's going to hurt the Redskins.
They're straight up stupid if they don't trade him. You know why?
Why?
Because next year he's not going to play for him.
Yeah.
Either way. The next year they'll get a 4th round pick for him.
Yeah. This year they'll get...
This year they can trade him for a 1st round pick. And they can get something good for him. They burned his bridges. They've burned the bridges with him. He wants to go play with the 49ers where his offensive coordinator and Kyle Shanahan is at. They want him, and I'm sure they'd be willing to trade the 1st pick.
I would too. If you get Kirk Cousins...
I don't think Kirk Cousins, top 10, maybe.
I think that he's a top 10 quarterback, but that helps your team where you're at right now.
Oh, yeah.
Because Colin Kaepernick is...
Colin Kaepernick's not even on their team.
I mean, but who they have starting now?
They have nobody starting.
Who they have starting now?
Nobody.
I know they have nobody, but like who they have right now is in the bottom tier, and you want someone who's in the top tier. That's a huge
They
thing.
literally have no quarterbacks on their roster.
Okay, well, whoever they get that's not Kirk Cousins is not going to be top 10.
Kirk Cousins is a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
But he's not an elite.
I don't think he's an elite quarterback either. I just think that he could help. He definitely would help the 49ers tremendously.
The Redskins are a joke. They're more poorly run, in my opinion, than the Browns. Because the Browns know they suck. They've admitted that they suck.
Yeah.
The Redskins don't even know where their GM is at.
It's terribly run. But, so staying in that division still, the Giants signing Brandon Marshall. He didn't do too good with the Jets, but do you think it could help
That's not true. That is not true.
He did good. Not last year. He didn't do very well with the
Last
Jets.
year he didn't do very well, but look at his quarterback situation.
Yeah, his quarterback
The
situation
year before that was a career year.
for him. So maybe with the Eli Manning and him number 2 receiver, it's definitely better than Victor Cruz, I think. I think that it's better than Victor Cruz.
I think if he wanted to go to a playoff contender,
and the Giants are.
The Giants might be, depending on the Eli Manning that shows up next year.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest concern, he doesn't have much of an ego anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you think Odell Beckham's going to react to another star, big-name guy going there?
I mean, he did say that that he's okay with being a second string. So with Odell just saying, well, he's the second string, I don't think Odell is going to have that much effect on it.
You don't think so?
Right now, I don't think so. It could develop more in the season.
I think.
But right now,
I think right now Odell Beckham's like gonna do something stupid. He's gonna say something stupid, and as good as Brandon Marshall has gotten about that, the second Odell Beckham lips off to him, you don't think that's gonna start some stuff?
It will start some stuff, definitely.
It's a terrible fit. I don't think it makes sense because he has another job in New York with Showtime.
Yeah.
But if he wanted to go to a playoff contender, he should have went to the Colts. Because I think the NFC East is the 3rd toughest division of football.
All right. Now, what about Deshaun Jackson going to the Bucks? I think that helps them a lot because Mike Evans dropped a lot of passes, and this gives them another thing. Do the next signing, Kenny Britt to the Browns, not a huge change. Just gives them a receiver.
That they don't have anyone to throw him to.
Yeah, because they don't have a quarterback. And then NFL.com is saying Micah Hyde to the Bills is one of the biggest signings. What do you think of that? Because the Packers didn't even offer him anything, and I feel like he was their best safety.
I have no
You have
opinion.
no say on it?
No opinion either way.
Why?
I don't think the Bills are going to do anything. They got Tyrod Taylor back, but it's just, I don't think that they're going to make anything.
Mm-hmm.
He might be a very good player, but he's not on a good team, so it doesn't matter.
That makes sense. Now the big thing that was a big thing was the Jaguars paid $30 million for Calais Campbell, and then they paid $26 million
For
AJ Boye. Now, they've spent the most money on players the past 3 years, $488 million. So, the NFL is saying that, not NFL, but NFL Insider is saying that it's just the Jaguars being the Jaguars and just throwing money. Do you agree with that?
I mean, yes and no, because they are just throwing around money because they don't have any players. But this makes sense for them. Last year, they had a terrible coach.
Mm-hmm.
This year, they're building their defense. Their defense did not lose them games last year.
Yeah.
What lost them games last year was their coaching.
Yeah, and
They have offense all over the field. I don't know what happened to Blake Bortles last year, but that's not who Blake Bortles is. He had some bad luck, and he made some stupid mistakes. I'm looking for him to have a bounce back year, and I think Allen Robinson is going to also bounce back, and maybe they could take that division by surprise.
They could, because it is a very weak division.
Weakest division in football.
Yeah, it's definitely the weakest division because you've got the Colts who could take it. You've got the Titans who could take it, and the Titans are a 500 team at best.
The 9-7 was the winner of that division last year.
Yeah, so I see the Titans going 9-7 again. Like, that's the best I see them doing. So the Jaguars could take that division if they, and I feel like this is also helpful because they got Tom Coughlin. So it's a different direction for them, and they got a different coach. So it's not the Jaguars just being the Jaguars and spending a lot of money. I think that it's also a different direction. So that's something that I don't necessarily agree with, that it's just the Jaguars spending a lot of money. Ted Ginn went to the Saints. That helps the Saints a lot, gives them a receiver. But they already have enough receivers too. So,
well, okay, here's the thing. Their Saints are looking to trade Brandon Cooks, but either way, Brandon Cooks wasn't the number one guy anymore anyway. Yeah. Michael Thomas is the number one guy there. Number 2 is Willie Snead.
Yeah.
And then now Ted Ginn's going to be the number 3 because Brandon Cooks is on his way out. They do not get along anymore, the organization and him. Mm-hmm. And frankly, they shouldn't be worrying about their offense. They need to make some defensive player signs. They have one of the worst defenses in the league, and you're wasting Drew Brees' talent right now.
Yeah, and Drew Brees is in his last years. He's been there for I think he's been pro for 12 years, maybe 13 years. So he's getting old. He's getting up there.
He's been pro longer than that.
Yeah, even longer than that. I think
he came in the league in 2001.
Yeah, so that's 15 years that he's been pro. So these are his last years, and you're wasting the talent that you have with them, definitely. Because you got to fix your defense. Your defense is terrible.
Sean Payton's a hell of a coach. Then Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. But, you're losing games when you're scoring 40 points.
Yeah, when you have to score 40 points to win a game, you're going to lose.
They're scoring 40 points and still losing.
Yeah, it's just terrible to watch. And the final signing was Terrell Pryor going to the Redskins. And we've already talked about how terrible the Redskins. So I don't even think this even helps them if they're going to lose Kirk Cousins.
I mean, I think they should put him back at quarterback.
Terrell Pryor?
Yeah. It can't hurt.
It can't hurt. If they lose Kirk Cousins, it can't hurt. And is there really any other big signings?
Just a bunch of speculation right now. Who do you think's improved the most this free agency so far?
So far, I think that it goes to, so far since we're just in day one, is the Jaguars, just because they signed 2 big names and they're changing their direction. So just right now, I think it's either the Jaguars, but I mean, this is only day 2, so there's still a whole bunch of players left, and
I'm gonna have to. Oh man, this is a tough one. I think. Oh, by the way, Julius Peppers returns to the Panthers.
Oh yeah, that's one that I missed.
That's a big deal. I think right now one of the most improved teams is the Bears because they cut Jay Cutler. I think that's a big deal. No, realistically, I think that probably this offseason, the 49ers, not from the players they've added, Kyle Shanahan's going to be a great coach, and I have faith that John Lynch is going to be able to turn that franchise around.
Since this recording, in day 2 of free agency, a big move was that Brandon Cooks was actually traded to the Patriots. And in day 3, looks like J.J. Wilcox has found a new home with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we are starting day 4 of free agency with still a lot of free agents up there. The Chiefs re-signed Daniel Sorensen. The Bears have signed Marcus Cooper from the Cardinals. And former Jets quarterback Geno Smith is visiting the Giants on Saturday. And it looks also like the Panthers lost another wide receiver, Philly Brown, to the Bears, which adds a receiving core to them. And Jimmy didn't agree with me that Ted Ginn was a huge loss for the Panthers, but they already have a struggling wide receiving core, and Ted Ginn was their number 2. And now losing Philly Brown, I feel like it's something that they need to address is the wide receiver position. And I also feel like they also need to address their offensive line because the Panthers are really struggled last year with offensive line and receivers, and it made Cam Newton look really bad. And for Cam Newton to get back to his prime, they need to fix these 2 things, or else he's going to look bad again, and it's not going to look good for the Panthers. Final topic of free agency was also Aaron Rodgers of the Packers called out his team for not making free agency moves. So they did sign a tight end and Martellus Bennett to help with their offense. This could really help the Packers offense if he stays healthy, but I think the Packers need to fix their defense. Their defense is really old. They really had struggles on one of the corner positions. They just would allow touchdown after touchdown on the left side, I think it was, and they just really struggled. No matter who played that side of corner, they just struggled. And I feel like they also need to fix their linebacking core because their linebacking core is getting older. They just really need to fix that defense because Aaron Rodgers can't do it all. And if he has to call out the team for them to do something, I really think they need to fix the defense, and they really need to sign something in their defense or draft something to help their defense and help this team and help Aaron Rodgers so he doesn't have to call them out. Well, so it's a sad time, Jimmy, because we got to end this show. I hope that you guys enjoyed Sports Your Shorts. I'm Andrew.
I'm Jimmy.
And we hope to see you next week and tune in. Next week and tune in. Next week.